movie with Scarlett Johansson, Lucy. That's what I'm thinking about. Where it seems like he's able to use more than just a certain amount of his mind. He's using his entire mind just to be able to do all these things. And honestly, I think the Captain comic would be a good spin-off series for the sole reason for, I guess, for his brain.
Yeah, I mean, most superheroes that we've seen, like, I know that Batman is super intelligent and everything, but you don't really get to see that part of, like, the actual thinking. I feel like the only movies or situations that I've actually seen, like, a person of mass intelligence was those Sherlock Holmes movies when they actually showed, like, when Robert Downey Jr. was breaking down when that guy was gonna, like, punch him in the Sherlock Holmes movies, and, like, he broke it down, like, thinking of the angles and everything in his head and was able to, like, deflect and then, like, dodge and then, boom, knock him out right away, which was really cool. It's cool to see those thought-based processes and slowing it down, but also having it, you know, speed up and then go, but knowing why the character was able to do that when, I mean, Sherlock Holmes isn't a superhero, you know. They made those movies seem like he was, but he's supposed to be like a detective, super smart. But
it's also Robert Downey Jr., so.
right. He can do what he wants. But it was interesting, and I think it would be interesting if they were able to bring, like, a more notable, intelligent superhero to the front. I agree.
Yeah, and a superhero whose name is not Megamind, even though that was a very hilarious movie.
He was a villain, too, at first. You gotta remember.
Oh, yeah, Megamind. But, well, it was probably one of the more enjoyable Will Ferrell villain roles that he played. Because I guess his Zoolander 2 movie didn't do well. Anyway, getting off topic, what is your next superhero that you got?
The next superhero, I decided to go with DC, and she's a member who has been shown on the Teen Titans before, and that's Raven, which Raven is a half-demon, half-human girl who has these magical powers. She has astrological projection and everything, force field creation, levitation, and just the ability to control, like, these magic, like, darkness. So it's like a demonic, almost dark power, but she uses it for good. So I always think it's really cool that whenever, like, I think we've talked about this before about magic, it's kind of hard to know, like, where the boundaries are. And she's recently got a DC animated film, which was the Teen Titans or the Justice League versus the Teen Titans. Have you seen that yet?
I have not gotten a chance to see that yet, no.
You should see it. It was actually really good. It kind of was able to portray Raven, at least, in more of a, like, powerful light. Like, she gets controlled by her dad, which is like a demon overlord, Trigon, which is a super villain that could destroy the whole world. He basically, like, takes control of the whole Justice League, and she's able to... Ooh.
Well, we're not live, but, you know, this is... But nothing can go wrong.
What are you calling me? Quick break. So she's actually able to defeat him by taking over his mind by using his own magic against him, and it's just a really cool area to show her, and the fact that it's in one of these DC animated movies that people don't really get to see or hear about, I wanted to bring it up and be like, hey, this is a great movie, Justice League vs. Teen Titans, and it actually shows that one of the Teen Titans members that people know from the really old Teen Titans is what I liked, the one with the kind of different, not like bad animation, but it was like, okay, it's the usual Batman, Superman animation that we're used to. They didn't really get to move on with this. They ended up canceling it, but then rebooting Teen Titans Go, which is, you know, it's for the younger kids. It's aimed at them, but I can't watch it to save my life. So, I like how they portrayed Raven in one of these newer movies, and she's just crazy. She's crazy powerful and demonic, which is kind of cool to have a hero actually from, like, the demon, like, half demon, and could be evil but chooses not to. And she's kind of like the emo hero too. Like sulky, doesn't like to do like, can we not? Like, but she's super powerful, and that's why.
I think I would also agree with that. I think that, having somebody like that would be really cool. And without spoiling anything, I actually have another hero on my list who has powers as well. And she might be also somebody who could probably combat with Raven, but I think that Raven might have the upper hand, but I'll get to that in just a minute. I think that when we first went over the list, kind of one of the things that we kind of noticed is that I think a lot of the Teen Titans are going to be on this list. So for those of you that are looking for spoilers, there's your spoiler. I think that would actually be kind of cool seeing. I think the only time that we've seen like demons or like stuff like that is like for possession movies or horror flicks or stuff like that. It would kind of be kind of nice to see something like what was that movie? There was a movie that was almost like about possession, but he kind of used the demons inside of him for good. Was it Max Payne? I think was. It might have been Max Payne. It might have been something else. I forgot which one it was. But hey, it gets another woman superhero out there, so I'm totally for it.
Yeah,
because
I have women on my group in my arsenal, but I did give honorable mentions to female.
Yes. All right, so from DC back over to Marvel, I went with somebody who a lot of people consider to be the basically Batman ripoff, and I say to them, shut up, because that is not true. I picked this guy for the sole reason, and that's because of the moon. I'm talking about Moon Knight. This guy apparently has a background as a boxer, a U.S. Marine, a mercenary, and a costume superhero. This guy can basically do so much because he was given powers by the Egyptian moon god. I'm hoping I'm saying this right. Khonshu, I believe is his name. Khonshu. And apparently his powers are basically given to him depending on different stages of the moon. His strength, his endurance, and his reflexes are basically enhanced, and whatever the fuller the moon gets, the more stronger he gets. He basically can be invulnerable, he can have superhuman strength. It's just one of those things that I look at and think, okay, if they make this into a movie, I would definitely want to see how this guy does it. And apparently, because he has multiple personalities, he would be very resistant to psychic attacks. My apologies. And I guess if somebody tried to get in his mind, they would not get the right answers. And I'm thinking, okay, this guy probably would do a little bit better than Batman, in all honesty. No offense to those that are DC folks. Like I said, I've got actually one more person on here that's from, well, actually two more from DC. But Moon Knight, I look at this guy and I'm thinking, okay, the sole reason why I would love to see how they would really do the whole moon aspect. How would they make his strength, his endurance, his reflexes better? How would they make him just the stronger superhero? How would they really do that? And plus, it would be kind of interesting to see what an Egyptian moon god would look like. But, all honesty, Moon Knight, you deserve the spot on my list. I don't know. What are your thoughts on Moon Knight?
That's cool. Yeah, I think it's funny because it says like this guy actually has two different secret identities, which is one, he's a millionaire playboy, and then the other one, he's a taxi driver. Like that could be really funny. Like usually they don't have, two secret identities to where like, oh, you go to this life and it's Bruce Wayne, like you were saying. But or he could just be a lively taxi driver who at night turns into Moon Knight.
He's Bruce Wayne at night, at daytime, and then nighttime he's the taxi driver from Deadpool.
Awesome.
Moon Knight, you got us all tricked.
Oh man, that Moon Knight. Well, that was good. Yeah, I agree. That would be fun. And I think even going into like the Egyptian gods would be kind of fun to see on the big screen versus the usual scientists in a laboratory.
Yeah, the usual, oops, I dropped something. Oh, wait, no, that was Powerpuff Girls. I'm sorry, wrong. We're not getting into that today. All right, so who do you got next, Tori?
We're going there. We're going to a laboratory right now, so.
Oh, with your next pick? Oh, boy.
A brilliant scientist, Alec Holland. He accidentally was trying to do, like, an experiment about deserts and forests, and then a bomb was planted by the enemies, and it exploded his lab, and then he ran on fire. This is not funny. But he ran on fire into a swamp and to try to put the fire out, and now he is known as Swamp Thing. Oops. No, I'm Swamp Thing. But, I think that's actually a kind of cool story, a kind of cool way to... He's a great scientist. He's working on stuff about the environment, and this is a DC comic. Swamp Thing is one of these heroes that are, like, actually, like, super overpowered, but is really cool. He doesn't really look like a person. He looks like... That's why his name is Swamp Thing.
Swamp Thing.
From the swamp. But he has a plethora of powers. So he's like this green, like mossy-looking blob-ish guy that can kind of get like a human form a little bit, but yeah, you wouldn't think this was a human. And then he has super strength. He can manipulate plants and talk with plants. He can shapeshift. He can change his body look, like I said, like he can look like a human or he can look like a blob thing. He controls the elements of swamps. He has superhuman strength, and he has, what is this? He can control growth and form, so he can turn himself into this huge mass, or he can be tiny, like kind of like Groot. He's a little thing. And then he can also just nourish himself. He's self-sustaining. He's a plant. Photosynthesis. Sorry, I had a list. But yeah, I know it's kind of funny, but this guy is a badass. He can fly if he wants to, because guess what? I'm just going to create wings for myself out of plants, and then I'm going to fly. Like, he's so cool. He just also looks really weird, but it's fine. It would be a fun thing, because, I love Beauty and the Beast. So he has a love interest, of course, but you can make this a huge, awesome movie of this guy set on fire, running into a swamp, turning into Swamp Thing. One of the most powerful, I think he's a very powerful hero in the DC universe. He really is. Like, when people who know DC, they're like, oh, dude, Swamp Thing, badass. And I'm like, yep, that's why he's on my list. And he can basically regenerate himself, too. Like, what? And it's kind of cool. I know, like, we were just making fun of the laboratory aspect of stuff, but it is kind of cool that he's, like, not an alien. So, like, he's here, he's from here, he is a human that just been manipulated into becoming a huge plant that can feed himself. I feel like you're stuck on that part. Like, oh, he has photosynthesis. That's really hard for me to say right now.
Because you're probably thinking of that episode of SpongeBob where he's just lying on the ground going, photosynthesis. Photosynthesis. Honestly, you would have won me over, but there were just so many things where I had a hard time. We're doing this over a Skype call, so she's just seeing me on the other side of her screen, just laughing my ass off, hearing, like, you can talk to plants, you can shape into anything. It's just like, yes, I've always wanted to know what a dandelion was thinking when I was plucking it out of the ground. Like, oh, no, not that. But honestly, in all fairness, if they do this for, like, a major spoof, if they do this for, like, Earth Day or something like that, and they get Swamp Thing going, I would actually love to see Swamp Thing and Groot just do, like, a 30-second cameo where Groot, of course, is just saying, I am Groot. I am Groot. And Swamp Thing, and they just have, like, a casual conversation.
He would be like, by that he means you guys are assholes and you should try to save the world better.
I am Groot.
But no, honestly, I know it was kind of funny. Like, his powers are a little funny because it seems like you were saying, like, why would you even want to control plants? Why would you want to do that? But, like, I mean, think about it. Plants are everywhere. Like, I have a plant sitting next to me right now. And, see, I'll show you the leaf. On Skype, I could show. And if you can control this plant to grow, like, he can make it grow into a crazy